What's up, jammies? Welcome back to another episode of Ricky's Ram Jam, presented by Barefoot Wine. It's been a hot minute since I've been in your eyes and ears, and ooh, does it feel good to be back. And we have an exciting show coming today. Hey, and the Super Bowl is over. Congrats to the Chiefs, but now every team is 0-0. Do you say 0-0 or 0-0? Either way, we're all starting fresh. My birthday weekend was this past weekend, and it was a really fun time, and I'll talk about it maybe on another episode, maybe not. Maybe this is all you're going to get about it. But some of my coworkers did actually bring me a card that was wine, wine generic, and they crossed it off and wrote my Barefoot read on it, which was hilarious, and got me a bottle of Barefoot wine. So you know that the big 3-1, the 31 years, we went hard with the Barefoot. So shout out to you, to Barefoot. Okay. Big show. Next week, Monday, 15-and-a-half-hour flight. I'm flying to Australia. I am going to be with some of the Rams cheerleaders and Rampage and some Rams employees, and we are going to Sydney World Pride. How exciting is this? I didn't really know what World Pride was, but apparently it's like the Olympics where a city bids for the World Pride, and this year it's Sydney. It's been in other places like Brazil. I think it's going to be in Washington, D.C. in a couple years, which will be really exciting. But we're going to World Pride. We're also going to get to hang out with the Swans, which is the Aussie rules football team over there. So I feel like I need to get a little bit more information. I'm going down under, as they say, and I want to learn a little bit about what I should be looking forward to and what we'll be doing with the Swans. So I have some great guests joining me today, and I think you're going to love them. As you know, jammies, we love football and we love our sponsor, Barefoot Wine. Wine and football aren't that different. Sure, they can be complex, but enjoying them should be easy, and both are easier with friends. So I'm happy to be pairing my Barefoot Wine with my first guest and hopefully friend, Hayley Willis. She's the communications manager for the Sydney Swans. Hayley, how are you today?
Doing really well at the moment. So yeah, very excited to be joining you today.
Absolutely. I want to learn all about Aussie rules football, and I'm not going to have you, pull out the rule book and give me all the explanation, but I do kind of want to put the differences between the NFL and the AFL. So, you guys play on an oval, we play on a rectangle field, the different ball. I was watching videos, there's like bouncing, kick. You can kick it in. And then also, what is that really cool thing where you lift someone up or you jump off someone's back? Like, that's legit.
Yeah. It's there's definitely a lot of differences. I mean, look, the similarities would be like kicking is huge. Obviously, you guys have kicks where you kick for goal and things like that. And then the ball's oval. They bounce it, which is not easy to bounce that ball. It's actually quite a skill to be able to do that on the fly. And some players do it. I've played AFL before myself, and I just was terrible at it. I would bounce it, and I'd think it was coming back to me, and it would just go like 5 meters to the right. So, you've got to have a bit of skill to be able to do that. And then, you've got it's kind of interesting the way it works. You've got to kick it in the center. There's a goal, and then you've got 2 posts either side. So if you don't, it's kind of like a point for trying. So
okay.
Like if you don't kick a goal, you get a point for trying. So it's a funny system, but great game. And it's no helmets, no protective padding. It's you go in there guns blazing, and you cop your fair share of injuries, but it comes down to the coaching and making sure that you're coached the right way to tackle and to handball and all the rest of it.
So cool. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on Aussie rules, trying to figure out, just the difference between NFL and Aussie. I'm bummed you guys aren't in season, because I would have loved to come to a game when I am in Australia next week, which would have been so cool. Do you call the ball like a ball? Is a rugby ball called a rugby ball?
Some Aussies call it a footy. It's just called an AFL ball, but a lot of people just call it a footy. That's sort of the slang for it, I guess. And then it's funny because we've got rugby league, and AFL, and all of them call it a footy. So It's really a bit confusing for anyone who doesn't, if you're not really aware of all the sports and things like that. But classic Aussies, just too lazy to make up different names.
So you walk into a bar and there's a rugby player and an Aussie rules player, and they're like, oh, you want to go play footy? and they're like, yeah, let's play footy, how do you determine what we're talking about here?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I guess they'd have to be like, wait, do you mean like AFL or like to follow it up with a question asking what kind of footy you want to play? So yeah, it's a bit confusing, but I think it depends also what state you're in, like New South Wales, and because where we are, it's a very rugby league heavy state. So a lot of people from New South Wales love rugby league, whereas if you go down to Victoria, they love AFL. Like they live and breathe AFL, Aussie rules. So yeah, if you walked into a bar in Victoria and said, hey, do you want to go kick a footy? They'd be like, yeah, and wouldn't question that you were talking about AFL. But if you're in New South Wales, they'd be like, I'm assuming you mean league. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, so it gets a little bit confusing.
No, I love it, and I've been loving learning about the game, and I'm excited to be able to partner with the Swans when the LA Rams are there next week, and we're going to be doing some stuff together. You're a member of the LGBTQ plus community, and you and your partner just welcomed a second child, so congrats. That is amazing. Pride has been a long time pillar of the organization of the Swans. Can you tell me why it's been such a priority for you guys, or where that sort of came about?
Look, I think the club as a whole, their culture is amazing, and they've always been a club that celebrated, diversity and inclusion. So it was really just a matter of time before we finally had a Pride round. A Pride game. It's not a Pride round for us, it's a Pride game. So between us and this other club, St Kilda, we play in what's called a Pride game, which is later in the year, and it's essentially the players run out, and it's all about standing up and making sure everyone feels welcome at the footy. So yeah, it's certainly been it was a no-brainer for our club to have that Pride round. It started, I think we played a pre-season game in 2017. That first was when we celebrated it, but then it became an in-season game, which was incredible to see. The journey for Pride and for the LGBTQI community has been a long one, to celebrating, who we are individually and feeling like we are seen and heard and, welcome everywhere. So to have the Swans go and celebrate us in a game, it really means a lot to our community, because sport is, it's a big part of our culture in Australia. We love sport, so it's nice. And yeah, the Swans are just such a welcoming club. They've always celebrated diversity and inclusion, so I think it really was just a matter of time before we had that Pride game that we now have. And I'm so excited for Pride Month, essentially, celebrating World Pride in Sydney. It's so exciting, and I can't wait to see us get involved with you guys when you guys come down under and journey all the way from the States. So yeah, it's amazing.
I know, a 15-and-a-half-hour flight. Do you have any recommendations for how to pass the time, or maybe some Australian reality TV shows I should get into?
Oh, I tell you what, I don't know if you guys have access. Well, no, you should do. We've recently got this reality TV show called Married at First Sight.
I've seen the American version, and it is an incredible show. But you're telling me that there's an Australian version? Yes.
Oh, yeah. And it's basically, you can't help but watch it. Like, you feel... it's one of those ones that I'm like, I can't believe I'm spending my time watching this, but it's like watching a car crash. I'm like, these humans exist.
Right.
Some of them are just absolutely mad. So if you can, I'd probably tune in. We've got a season happening at the moment, so I'd tune into that. It's
awesome.
Very entertaining. There's some pretty strange characters in there. Otherwise, just make sure you're signed up to a ton of streaming services.
I know. It's going to be so worth it on the other side, and I'm excited to be able to kind of further along this relationship between the LA Rams and the Swans. I know Nick Scott was over last year, and I watched a ton of his content to see what he was doing with the Swans. I'm going to speak with Dion Alexander in a little bit from the Rainbow Swans. So I want to know, where did the Rainbow Swans come from? Was that a Swans initiative? Was that a fan group that you guys adopted? Where did that sort of come from?
It's funny because I probably don't know the entire story as to how it came about, but I know that I'm pretty sure it came about through Dion, and basically they were just their own supporter group, and then we adopted them as our, I guess, official partner of our, or official LGBTQI plus supporter group. So I believe how it came about. It's funny because I came to the Swans only a couple of years ago, and I was, I've always supported them my whole life, but I wasn't actually part of that Rainbow Swans group. So when I found out they had one, I'm like, fantastic. We've got our own like official, Rainbow supporter group. This is fantastic. But from memory, I think, it started out just as their own sort of supporter groups, as like a Facebook page, and then we just took them on as our official supporter group. And the relationship has blossomed ever since. They're a great group of people to work with, and it's great to see so many people get involved and feel like they can just celebrate who they are every time they come to the footy.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing the LA Rams involvement in Pride last year, and just to see, in Los Angeles, just to see a team totally support something that is very important to me and my life, and to see a team embrace me and people like me was super moving. And so I can totally imagine Swans fans must feel so empowered and liberated, and hopefully, there's room for a Pride round in the future or different types of games. I think that's awesome.
Like I said before, the rainbow community has come a long way over the years. I'm blessed to be able to call my wife, actually, right. Be able to say we're legally married, to be able to have kids together. So, this time, 50 years ago or even 10 years ago, it was such a different story. It's exciting. It's really awesome to feel like, I'm a part of a positive change that's happening. And I think, it's just a matter of time before we have a Pride round. But proud to say, speaking of Pride, I'm proud to say that, we were the first professional sporting group to march in the Mardi Gras. Wow. That we have here. So this will be our 6th year marching.
Wow, that is incredible. Is there starting to become a larger NFL following in Australia?
Yeah, having watched how everyone, like the Super Bowl, obviously, that just happened, you just see it's like Super Bowl fever when that's happening.
Really?
Like pubs are full. Yeah, I love it. It's so good because I love watching NFL. It's funny, I don't really have a team, but I probably will just call the Rams my team now because we've got this relationship. Yeah, I got to. I have to. But yeah, you see everyone get into like Super Bowl fever. You see people walking the streets in their like NFL colors. It's so cool to see us embrace the NFL game when it's happening. And for us, it's great because a lot of it happens during our off season. So for us, it's something to watch. It's great.
It was amazing. And to see the Rams do that last year, I'm so excited to see some Rams fans over in Australia. Before I let you go, what is something I have to see when I'm in Sydney? And how do I properly order an iced coffee so I don't get like a milkshake?
I actually reckon if you just said an iced, an iced coffee, well, I'd probably call it an iced latte. An iced latte.
Okay.
I think that would be your best bet if you went into a cafe and said, "Can I get an iced latte?" They won't question that.
Okay.
What you have to see, gosh, our beaches are amazing. I would say everyone says go to Bondi Beach. Personally, I live on a different set of beaches. I live on the North Shore, so northern beaches. So I would say come to, say, Manly. There's so many beaches. What else? And I think, classic doing the Harbour Bridge. So if you can go visit the Harbour Bridge and Opera House and all that, that's a pretty special part of Sydney, I think.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out and taking time, especially while you're doing maternity leave and you could be laying on Manly Beach right now with the babies. That sounds way more fun than talking to me, but I appreciate you so much, and I'm so looking forward to spending time with the Swans and the Rainbow Swans and marching in World Pride. This is going to be the trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, you'll have a blast, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We can't wait to have you in Australia, and good luck on the flight.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it. Joining me now is Dion Alexander, a member of the Rainbow Swans, which is the official LGBTQ supporter group of the Sydney Swans. And we're kind of podcasting in the future because where Dion is, it's the day after in the morning, afternoon for me. This is pretty cool. So Dion, thank you so much for joining me. Tell me a little bit about the Rainbow Swans, their mission, what they're all about. I'm so interested to hear.
Well, first of all, we can't wait to have you here in Sydney for World Pride. I very much look forward to that and look forward to marching with you, I believe, in the Mardi Gras parade.
Yes.
It's going to be a big fun time. But the Rainbow Swans, the organisation that I represent and have been the treasurer, trying not to be the boring finance person, trying to be the fun finance person, being the treasurer now for about 4 years. Our mission is just to bring together and help support the Swans with their mission of the Diversity Action Plan and really make sure all of our Rainbow members feel welcome.
Yeah, so in talking with some of the Swans communications, I've learned a little bit about the Rainbow Swans and their affiliation with the Swans and how the Swans in their men's league do, is it Pride Night? Is it a Pride match? Can you sort of explain what the Swans do with that? Yeah.
Yeah, do a Pride game. So that originally started as a practice match and has grown into a in-season match between St Kilda. So it's another team that have really championed Pride and supporting the Rainbow community. And it's one of our big events and probably the biggest event outside of, obviously, Mardi Gras and this year World Pride that we get involved with and just have an absolute celebration. It's a great night. I mean, the stands are always packed out for Pride Night, and it's just so good to see so many rainbows littered all over the stadium, so many happy people. It really is a great sight, and it's one of our favourite nights.
I love that. So you're Mr. Gay Pride Australia. How does one win that? And that's such an honor. And also, is there a Miss Gay Australia? I'm not from Australia, but how do I apply?
Yeah, there is. There's an application process.
Okay.
Mr. Gay Pride Australia. It leads into representing Australia on a world stage at Mr. Gay World. So I'll be going over it. Rumours at the moment it'll be in South Africa at the end of May, start of June. But it really is a competition about championing something that you really believe in, that you're passionate about. So the platform that I ran on to be Mr. Gay Pride Australia and won last year in November was to end homophobia in sport. And so that comes from the work that I've done with the Swans and now want to lead and champion for there to be a whole competition-wide Pride round in the AFL men's competition. So obviously, as you said, we've got that Pride game between St Kilda and ourselves, the Swans. And that's fantastic and it's great for our communities. But there's 18 teams in the competition. And, from meeting some of the other members of other Pride groups, you can just see how much it would mean to them to be able to, their team play in a Pride game and then that be a whole, a competition-wide Pride round.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And that's so exciting to see sports come together to make it an accepting place for everyone. And that's why I'm so excited that the LA Rams are participating in World Pride and sending members of us and some cheerleaders and Rampage, our mascot, over. What do you think it means to have the LA Rams, an NFL team, participating in this year's World Pride?
I think it's amazing, right? We're seeing so many times now in professional sport, regardless of where it is, athletes are now coming out, and that's a big brave step, and it only happens from organisations and teams like the LA Rams going to something like World Pride, sending members of the team over, sending cheer squads over. I mean, the Swans and St Kilda here locally have done an absolute amazing job in making sure that everyone feels welcome at the football. And, we've had a number of sporting elite athletes in this country now come out from different sporting codes. And it's only because we're really starting to, embrace the wider community and really embrace the rainbow community that, we get people that feel comfortable to say, you know what, this is who I am. I'm a great athlete, but I'm, also a member of the rainbow community, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love that. That's so important. How can people in Australia and also here in the States help support the mission of the Rainbow Swans and just the overall cause? Because it's so important, like you said.
It really is important. And I just think there's a couple of things. Be curious is my big thing. So I know often we hear about pronouns and it sounds very, very confusing. And, like I'll say as a gay man sometimes that stuff is confusing. But just be open-minded about it and just ask some questions. So if we really just, ask questions from, a really inquisitive standpoint rather than an interrogative standpoint, then it just opens people up to talk about their experiences, talk about why using a certain pronoun might be really important to them and how they identify. Talking to me about why is ending homophobia in sport important. Just asking like simple questions like that where you just want to learn more about something, because the more you learn about an issue, a topic, the more you're going to understand it and the more then you've got sympathy for it. So I think that for me is the biggest thing of being a really good ally. And I always think people that are in that position of authority or that position of privilege, if you like, it is their responsibility to bring along other people. So I think now, obviously in our community, the rainbow community, gay people and lesbian people are mostly widely well accepted now. And I think, it's our responsibility now for people in the trans community, people in the bi community, and the rest of the letters of our acronym and our flag to really help them along and help them to come out, tell their story, so people know, because awareness is key.
Absolutely. And to feel included and to stick up for others. That is so well said. And I resonate with that message so much. Speaking of being curious, I'm very curious which bars on Oxford Street I need to check out when I'm in Sydney. So I need like the inside scoop from you. Erica, you got to hit this, or is there one like must see?
I think you've got to hit everything, Erica. If you're coming over here, you need to hit that whole street. Like
I got it.
You need to start at Hyde Park, just walk up, have a drink, get a couple of drinks in all of them, and keep going right to the end till you get to Arc.
Oh, perfect. That sounds awesome. Dion, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I am so looking forward to getting to Australia, hopefully going to have the opportunity to meet up with you. And I know we're doing a lot with the Swans, with the Rams, which is just going to be so exciting. And World Pride, I'm looking forward to this so much, and I can't wait for it.
We can't wait to have you here.
There he goes. What a jam-packed show. Dion was so great to talk to. Hayley was so fun to talk to. I am just getting so pumped up for this trip. It's going to be so exciting. We have a ton of events going on. We are meeting with the Swans. We're going to some of their field days, other exciting stuff. I am so excited. And how many times can I say excited on one podcast? I don't know. But hopefully you're not taking a shot every time I say that, because then no one's going to make it to Australia. World Pride 2023, here we come. Thank you for listening. And you guys know what to do. Let's ram it.